Welcome back, Black Twitch League, as we go into Game 2 of Dryads versus Hard Dr. Pepper. Hard Dr. Pepper able to pick up Game 1 in this best-of-3 series, and did so with a little bit of a lull in the mid-game, but overall a pretty dominating fashion. We're now heading into draft here as we get into this Game 2. Any thoughts on what needs to change for Dryads heading into Game 2 here, Adam?
Honestly, I think that they played it as well as we could expect out of them. They really did. Not for Dryads. Sorry, Hard Dr. Pepper played it as well as they could. I just realized the teams are swapped. I'm gonna fix that on the overlay, but yeah, Hard Dr. Pepper played incredibly well in that first game. Dryads, I think they just need to be a little bit more confident in themselves. I dare say, because there was a couple of moments there where they could have tried to make some early proactive plays and just didn't want to pull the trigger. So I think that is something that they can look towards in game 2.
Like to see Dryads pick up a little bit more. We're in competitive, right? So it's always good to have a little bit more synergy with your champion picks. As Hard Dr. Pepper here, as we look at draft, Hard Dr. Pepper ends up picking Lucian first pick. I don't know why Lucian is being prioritized so much by these teams, being a blue first pick on blue side for each team now on each different side. Well, or wait, hold on. So you said they're switched. So Dryads picked Lucian B1 again.
No, this is Hard Dr. Pepper picking.
Okay, so Hard Dr.
Yeah,
Pepper did pick it up. Okay. No, that's okay. I just want to make sure that I was talking correctly. So Leeson ends up getting picked by Dryads, and Set is being hovered here as the blind top pick. Pretty a little bit different. Set has a lot more ability to have some sort of engage, a little bit more team fighty, as opposed to the Aatrox in the last game, and Lee, similar to Vi, more of a skirmishy champion, not as great in the team fights, but still able to be really relevant on the map. So far, not too different of a draft for Dryads, and I think it's. What do you think of this Lucian denial on the blue? Am I missing something? Has Lucian been buffed?
Lucian, I mean, apart from his rework that was recent, I think it's just the champion that a lot of these people like to play. It still is technically a flex pick, but it is very feast or famine in the sense that it's a 500 range ADC. You need to be extremely careful when you're playing it. I think that was the reason why we saw Yanni go for the Yone in the bot side, just to make sure that they could just to kind of ensure that they have enough damage on that side for one, but also being able to survive that lane really well against the lower ranged ADC ended up working out for them. But with the Rise lock in, it will be Lucian bot side again, and I'm interested to see why it's prioritized as well. It may just be comfort for both of these teams.
Yeah. So again, Lucian now pretty. I mean, in theory, I guess Rise could go into the bot lane, but I think it's pretty clear that Lucian's going to be the ADC, Clyde in the top lane, Rise in the mid lane. As Seraphine is being hovered for the side of Dryads, Artho wanting to continue to play these mage e-girl champions here in the bot lane. I like the Seraphine more than the Soraka though, because it enables you to have a little bit of AoE CC for some team fights, which I do think. In my personal experience in competitive, I always like to see those types of champion kits in general because they're easier to execute, especially with teams that have mixed elo like this, where you have a couple silver and gold players in this game, you have a couple of high diamond players in this game. It's a lot easier. You just want to make sure that the execution is as simple as possible, unless you're able to practice unique styles, and most teams don't do that. So I like the Seraphine pickup. I don't understand the Morgana Soraka bans unless they're anticipating Dryads taking the Seraphine mid in response to the Rise. I guess you could do that. I don't suspect that's going to be the play, especially after you just got done picking Syndra into Annie. I don't know how you go to Seraphine as the counter pick personally, but the two bans coming out now, Blitz and Nautilus, the Hook champions, going to be banned. But right, when you only have two bans, then you always leave up another Hook champion. So Thresh insta locked in response to the Soda from Dryads, and Rengar going to be picked by Hard Dr. Pepper. I know I saw Bio plays a lot of Rengar, probably his most played this season in the jungle, and this feels to me Hard Dr. Pepper's comp feels to me very solo queue-ish. There's not a lot of even with the lanes, right? The Thresh is a counter to the Sona. but the Rise was picked blind mid. Kled was a response to the set. Kled isn't really a competitive champion per se, although he does enable your team to get on top of people. And Action's going to be covered here in the mid lane. I like to see that. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, I want to talk about this bot lane so badly. It's
Yeah,
Sona
go for it. Hit me
Seraphine.
with
This is actually one of the most broken bot lanes right now. You get so much healing through Sona because her rework made her low-key busted, not just as a support, but with another Enchantress. You're going to have Sona Seraphine bot lane. They're going to both build Moonstone, and they're just going to heal each other up to insane extent. It's so good into Lucian as well because Lucian has to get into range of both Seraphine and Sona to do any sort of damage. And even if the Thresh comes through as some sort of engage, I don't know if it's enough to just be able to get through the likes of the heals from Sona and Seraphine. So I'm expecting both of them to build Moonstone. They're going to try and buff up this Akshan as much as possible in this mid lane. Dryads have a really smart comp coming out this time around. It's just that considering on the flip side, you have a Rengar, someone who loves to just one-shot those squishy champions. They've got to be extremely careful. And Rengar is definitely another Feast or Famine champion. We saw the Zed work out for them, so I'm curious to see how this works.
I haven't seen it. I have heard of it, Adam, so I'm not completely unaware of it, but I really haven't seen it. I know that I've heard it talked about, and I know that the Sona Ultimate rework as well really enables you to have a pretty nice little CC chain there between the two ults, which is fun to see. So I'm curious to see how Lee will play into Dryad's comp. It feels like that as a champion really is going to be the X factor as far as getting them through the mid game between him and Akshan. You should have a lot of capacity for the two to roam together and get into fights in both top and bot side river. I'm not sure how much priority they'll be able to have over dragons with the Sona Seraphine lane. Do both of those champions end up picking the support item as well, or will Seraphine be farming?
It's going to be, both of them are going to pick up the support item, and to a degree, you can split the farm, and it still ends up working out. This is from, keep in mind, this is me playing in gold elo, but regardless, in lane, you end up getting about 50 gold per minute more than your opponents because you're so focused on poking them out. You don't really care who gets the CS. The farm is the least important part of this lane. It's more so just about stacking your support item as quickly as possible and getting to that stage where both of you have Moonstone, and it's very hard to kill you unless you're one-shotting them. So I like the Rengar pickup from Bio here, understanding that they're going to have to try and just kill the Sona or the Seraphine before they can use their ultimate, before they can start to stack up those Moonstone stacks. But it's still going to be incredibly difficult if they already have those stacks going before the Rengar can jump in, or if he's not able to get strong enough to one-shot them.
I think the onus will too be on Tanner to make sure that he's sitting on backline, able to kick the Rengar away as he jumps in to prevent Pixel or Artho from being popped by that Rengar. I do agree. I think that the Rengar pick makes a lot of sense as far as the death ball identity of Pixel and Artho, and so I like to see what happens here in the mid lane. I don't obviously Akshan a new champion. I'm not familiar with all the matchups there in the mid lane. I know that for me personally, when I play against Akshan, I don't like playing as him unless I have hard CC because he goes full Tarzan into my face and kind of knocks me around with his blasts me in the face like like he's just doesn't give a flying flip about what he's doing, and then I end up getting burst down, and then I'm really out of the lane. And I know Ryze in general as a champion is able to really poke through minions very nicely between the Flux and the Runes EQ combo. You're able to get some poke damage down if champions try to sit behind the wave, and if they sit outside of the wave, you can just throw the Q on its own. But it's pretty difficult to get the root down, and very quickly you have to EW very quickly to be able to get it down. So Impulse, I'm curious to see how that lane goes between him and Burst Phantom. Well, no, isn't Burst Phantom the jungle? So Tanner and Burst Phantom are mixed up. Unless they're trading, are they switching?
They must be switching.
Okay.
I think they're switching overall, but I guess it must be just a comfort thing for Tanner to pick up this Lee Sin. Of course, Lee Sin mid was played for a long time in the meta in Season 11 to great success, so not surprised to see it potentially just transitioning over in terms of skill set into the jungle. But Burst Phantom on this Akshan in the mid lane is going to have a lot of pressure here because this is your only late game damage in a sense. Lee Sin's going to fall off like a brick, and Set has damage, but it's very conditional. It's conditional on him getting very low, whereas Akshan's going to be the one to kind of carry these team fights, hopefully get a couple of clutch revives here and there to be able to keep his team in the mix of things, but it's going to be a little bit challenging because they are so squishy apart from that Set. This Rengar, this Kled, this Lucian, if they get ahead, there is no looking back. It's going to be so hard for the side of Dryads to keep up.
I'm not sure about this interaction, and maybe you are, Adam, but I'm pretty sure that Set's health bar is mostly considered a shield. All of the his mount's health is considered a shield, so it's not really his health per se. So I'm curious how it's calculated with the max health Set damage that's used for whatever he uses his ultimate to suplex people. Usually it's applied based on the health of his target. So I'm curious if Kled, because his health bar isn't really considered his actual the actual shield. I'm curious how those interact with one another. If the Set ult actually does like a very small amount of damage whenever he ults the Kled. Do you know anything about that?
Scarl damage or Scarl health bar does count as part of it counts as the calculation. It's a little bit odd how it works, but regardless, I think that if Set throws Kled into the team, it's going to do a lot of damage regardless.
Right. I just wanted to check with that. So. Yeah, interesting death ball composition here as far as Dryads are concerned. Pretty easy to execute with their bot lane, just kind of trying to keep everybody alive. Set, Big Bruiser able to stay alive, and same with Akshan, actually deceptively healthy with his shielding and everything. Who do you think? What do you think? Who won draft?
I think that it's just by virtue of the fact that they have the kind of big brain bot lane. The side of Dryads do win draft here, but it's more so based on the fact that if this Seraphine, it's very conditional. If Seraphine and Sona are able to survive the laning phase, they will be absolutely disgusting come late game. Just got to be careful not to give Bio too many kills on the flip side.
We'll have to see as we go into a quick break. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back with BTL and Dryads versus Hard Dr. Pepper. See you soon. Welcome in, guys, to Game 2 of the series between Dryads and Hard Dr. Pepper. Hard Dr. Pepper really going full ham there with the combo of the Baron into the Mountain Soul into the Elder Dragon, able to pick up Game 1, and as we head into Game 2, looks like a little bit of shenanigans for The side of Hard Dr. Pepper trying to invade through the mid-river, gets spotted out by Tanner, and Burst Phantom end up choosing not to do that and backing off a little bit. A little bit of a switch here. Burst Phantom going to be playing in the mid lane this game, and Tanner in the jungle. So Dryads having a little roster swaparoo, and I'm curious to see what do you think are our early game priorities for each team, both Dryads and Hard Dr. Pepper?
I think that the early game priority is to give this Seraphine and Sona a manageable lane. You don't want to put them too far behind by. Oop, my goodness, I cannot spectate. I keep forgetting I need to alt tab every time I need to switch over to look at my OBS or something, but it's about giving them enough space. Seraphine did opt to go for the Doran's Ring, so it won't be the double support item this time around. This isn't odd because Seraphine has better farming than a lot of these other enchantresses, especially like when you pair up the Sona with the Soraka or something like that. But it's about giving them enough space. Whereas on the flip side, I think this Rengar needs to just be as active as possible in the early game. Can be a little bit challenging to try and gank the Akshan in the set specifically, but if this Rengar can focus on the bot lane, it should be able to pay off.
A little bit of a trade here from Yucca on the Zombie Man, who's gonna miss his bear trap. Pixel and Artho being pushed around. Burst Phantom gonna go in, get those nice little trades out. And Pixel and Artho are kind of being bullied off this wave by Bad with a P and I. Hopefully they're able to freeze that wave a little bit closer to tower. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's gonna get crashed. But maybe they get a little bit more bullied than they'd like to here in the early stages of the game. You talked about them needing to be able to make it a manageable wave. Is there anything in particular you think they need to do to be able to enable themselves?
Honestly, staying under this tower is probably their safest bet. It's not so much about keeping their wave in check. If they're behind in CS, that's perfectly fine because it's Seraphine. Her item is cheap. It's 2,500 gold compared to 3,400 gold for the Lucian. So if she's 900 gold behind, she's effectively even. It's more so just about staying alive. And it's super important to make sure that this Rengar cannot take advantage of them. But with these bushes here, if they push this wave out too far, they are susceptible to a lane gank. And I'd like to see this out of Bio, prioritizing that bot side early.
Bio getting down here into this bottom bush. They have the ward in the first bush, so maybe they're able to spot him if he walks around. It doesn't look like they're going to, though, as he walks straight into this center bush here. Artho kind of walking up a little bit. Pixel getting flashed in on. Thresh Hook gonna land over onto Pixel Wolf, who's gonna be chunked out, flashing out as well, getting the root down, getting tons of shields and healing. Ignite going down as well from Bad with a P, and pretty good little engage there by Bad with a P. Not enough to be able to get the kill. Ignite getting chunked down as well between Pixel and Artho's damage, as well as taking a little bit of the wave. But if you're the side of Dryads, you're a little frustrated. You just burnt almost all your summoners. Hex Flash being used there by Bad with a P. A hook going out onto Artho, not able to really get any follow-up. Actually, Yanni going to get poked pretty hard by the empowered Sona auto attack. And yeah, it's what started out to be a very nice little trade there. It turned out to be Yanni being really poked down, and the sustain really showing through. You talked about how excited you were about this wave. Bio kind of getting engaged here on a ward. Burst Phantom able to Tarzan in there. Bio getting really choked down. Ignite going down, and he's going to go down. First blood. Burst Phantom is going to try and go for more. Not able to get much, but huge burst. Burst Phantom putting the burst in his name. Really able to chunk down Bio, who's trying to recall on that ward on the top side of mid wave, and that's going to be a kill over to Tanner on the Lee Sin, and a little bit of tempo advantage as well over to the side of the Dryads.
Yeah, Dryads are able to take advantage of a little bit of over-aggression from Bio. He was sitting on a ward, was unaware of that. And unfortunately, this Rengar in the early game, you know, doesn't have the most damage under his belt. And you can see only with the longsword right now, still not going to be one-shotting anyone quite yet. Whereas this Lee Sin going to be able to pick up the Iron Spike Whip as well as that Ruby Crystal, so going to be able to have a little bit more prio early on, but this is about a 1,000 gold lead for the side of Dryads early on into this one.
Largely off of that I'm. Where is this lead coming from? What is this actually? It's just one kill. I mean, well, you have 450 from the kill plus the bonus gold from the first blood, but yeah, I guess it's just 200 gold advantage just from the poke
Yeah.
of Artho. That's wild. That's substantial. And I just guess I don't know that much about the math of that ball lane, and maybe I would have now liked to have seen Pixel taken the support item and them traded off with the farm, because this amount of gold differential this early in the game is nuts.
Yeah, this is effectively what you expect to see out of the likes of this Sona. She's going to be able to punish out the Thresh, who, while technically ranged, not as high range as you would like to see, and the Lucian, who's low range as well, so able to get a lot of gold off of that, but as well, they were able to, this Lee Sin has been able to pick up a couple more substantial camps here, was able to get at least one of those, or I think both Scuttle Crabs. So Lee Sin is sitting well, and by the looks of it, we're just waiting to see where this first sort of big burst of action is going to come from, because up on the top side, it's just been a farm fest thus far, but actually, there's where your gold lead's coming from. Set has a 20 CS lead.
I don't think it was that big at first whenever we were first looking at it. I think he just stacked that wave, which is crashing right now. It's about a double stack wave, which is a little over 12 minions, so he's probably about a wave and a half ahead, if assuming that Zombie Man's going to be able to pick up all of that CS. Bio is going to end up giving... No, he's going to take the blue buff on his own. I thought he was going to give it over to Impulse, stealing the blue buff away from Tanner, who is now vertically jungling into Bio's top side. It looks like they're going to be conceding this initial Ocean Dragon, and Impulse is coming down with Bio for this ultimate down. It looks like they're going to go for a dive as the TP comes out. Pixel Wolf being chunked down, being killed up as much as possible. Oh my gosh, Pixel almost survives. Bad with the P able to pick it up. Ends up trading his life for Ire. Yucca with a huge ultimate here, going to knock down Impulse. And Zombie Man is trying to bear trap in on Artho, but it looks like Yucca's not going to let him do anything. He goes looking for him and tries to flash out, able to dodge the true damage there. Going to get pulled back in, and see you later, Zombie Man, as the dive doesn't go quite as planned. Dragon's not going to be able to really be picked up here because Tanner, like we were saying, is vertically split over on the top side, but some of these pinks are going to go down, a little bit more control over the river, and the tempo that Hard Dr. Pepper was looking to exert now completely gone.
Yucca picks up 3 kills on that bot side, and I want to point out, Kled did have the possibility to remount. I think if he auto-Qs there, he's able to remount just because of that long-ranged auto, but oh my goodness, this mid lane, this Akshan!
Gonna hide behind tower, so not as and minions as well, right? So not as much of a kill threat as you may think originally, but still very scary for Impulse. Burst definitely has the capacity to dive here, and I'm sure he's thinking about it, whether he wants to do it. If Impulse gets too close, he can swing around on the side. He's going to do it here, Phantom. Going in, end up getting a lot of the damage to the boomerang, just not able to pick it up. But Tanner's able to finish it off with the Sonic Wave, and that ends up being Impulse's life. A huge hook here coming out. Bad with the P, able to get it, landed, pull it to Thresh. The Sona ult is going to come down into the Seraphine ult, and now Thresh is in trouble. We're making his best way back to the Shadow Isles. He's going down very low. Artho's going to be able to get the kill's going to go over to Pixel Wolf, barely able to get it, and then flashes out. Pixel Wolf getting chunked down very low, almost able to take down Yanni. Ends up being a double kill for Yanni, despite how close that fight was there in the bot lane, as Bio was going to come on in and clean up Pixel regardless, but wow, what a close fight between the two.
Yeah, really
Burst
well
now
played.
Down here. Burst not going to let Bio just get free plates, just a little bit of chunk down on him, and yeah, just like you said, very well played. What did you think of the CC chain between the two ultimates, between Sona and Seraphine, and the rest of how that fight was played?
I mean, that's just a combo. R into R. That's what you do as Seraphine Sona bot lane. Actually, we'll get back to that point as in the mid lane.
Tanner going in here, going to get room prisoned up, trying to get as much damage out as possible. Burst Phantom going to flash in to make sure he secures the kill, and Impulse goes down for overextending for really nothing in the mid lane. It wasn't even able to pick up any plates. Meanwhile, top lane, Yucca is almost dismounted Zombie Man again. Herald's going to go down, and it looks like this is going to be Herald plates and solo gold, or a split gold between Tanner and Burst Phantom. On the mid plate, gold for the Herald, and Dragon for the side of Dryads. In this game so far, looking much different than last game. And look at the gold lead. Last game, really, the gold lead was very small, despite a very large kill differential between the two teams. But in this game, Dryads, oh wow, Bio going hard onto Pixel, who flashes, ends up getting locked down, ends up getting taken out by Bio, who walks into the bush to jump back out, and the cat strikes, able to get not able to get the kill. The kill goes over to an eye, but still able to get a little bit more pressure over onto the map and make sure that this bot lane, this double enchantress bot lane, is going to have to respect the assassin cat from the jungle. But as I was saying, Dryads able to it's not over. Burst Phantom is now hiding over into this bush, invisible and stealth, kind of looking to make a play here. Arthur does have ultimate and exhaust. He's walking into the bush. Phantom able to get some damage down. The Sona ult ends up blocking him down, and Bad with the P is going to get picked up as well. So now Burst Phantom able to pick up 2 kills. And that's a 3-0-2 Action swinging his way back over towards the mid lane. Man, another action-packed game.
Yeah, another Akshan-packed game, so to speak. But this Akshan has had a really good time against Impulse in this mid lane. The Rise just hasn't been able to get enough time to just farm up as he wants. And at this point, you see that Rift Herald was popped in the mid lane. He has himself a safer lane state now, but Akshan can try and freeze this wave and prevent the Rise from getting that much farm. Looking at the gold difference, it's 5,500 gold, about to be 6,000 gold in the lead for the side of Dryads. They have definitely put on their best performance here, but mid lane.
Oh, instantly proccing his ult, running down to protect his mid laner. Phantom ends up getting taken down. The Sonic Wave going to get onto Impulse, and it doesn't look like Tanner. Oh my goodness, Action going to end up dying to minions, I believe. Minions and Ignite. So ends up being a 2-for-1 there, despite what I thought was going to be a little bit of a misplay by Phantom being a little too far up and overextended, because Bio instantly left his Raptor camp to go over and support Impulse, and ends up having Tanner come over, able to clean up Impulse, and the kill goes over from Bio to Burst Phantom. So again, this mid lane matchup just very difficult for Impulse.
It's extremely difficult for the side of Hard Dr. Pepper here. As we said, they're very reliant on putting this double enchanter bot lane behind. They have done that, but look at the rest of the map. That's where all of their gold is going. And considering that they're giving enough time for Pixel Wolf and Arthur to scale up. Of note, Pixel Wolf going for the Leandries instead, so opting to get a little bit more of that percent health damage, a little bit more of that magic damage on their side to be able to diversify their damage portfolio as opposed to going Enchantress. But bot side, ooh.
Tanner getting a nice insect on an eye, who's going to be dashing and lanterning back. Tanner going a little too deep, ends up getting knocked around, and now Lucian able to pick up a double kill. Bio going down as well to Action. Almost a very nice hook. Action going to be able to pick up the kill onto Bad with a P. And I still in trouble here. Burst Phantom trying to go and commit in. Yucca going to go and suplex in as well. He's still tanking. Nice blast by Zombie Man to be able to avoid
rebounds.
True damage as the remount comes in. The Zombie Man using the ultimate ends up missing. Artho able to flash out of the auto lock, the lock on feature of Zombie Man's clit ults. And wow, another huge fight here from double TPs from the top laners. And what was the end up being the final tally of kills in that fight? 4-for-4?
Something like that, 4-for-4, I think. Regardless, at the end of that, you can see Set getting a lot of value, but just tanking the tower for a little bit too long. They were able to get the kill into Tanner really quickly, but Akshan's able to come through, has so much damage at this stage of the game that he's just able to burst out members under tower, ends up going down once again, but it is a 4-for-4, and I believe the gold in general favors Hard Dr. Pepper, but you can see how strong this Akshan is. It's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and is going to continue to scale. Just want to point something out as well. Up on the top side, this CS difference is getting a little bit ridiculous. 50 CS up for Yucca on this set. And, the side of Hard Dr. Pepper, they've got to try and find some sort of opportunistic plays to shut down Burst Phantom a little bit more, because this Akshan is incredibly strong.
Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, you have Hard Dr. Pepper able to pick up this Herald. Nice little objective for them, as this Dragon is going to be spawning in 30 minutes. They have 4 here now in the mid lane. They're going to be able to put that down, hopefully take this tier 1 mid, since we still have, Sona Artho has now walked up towards mid to try and protect and defend. Bio is going to be taking out a ward, using the lantern to get back over the wall. And it looks like the Herald will probably go down right before this dragon, and both teams are going to be looking to fight over this dragon here.
Yeah, you've got to keep an eye on what this second dragon means. Hopefully the side of Dryads can pick that up for themselves, because then they put themselves in a really good state where next dragon will be that sole point for them. But the side of Hard Dr. Pepper aren't going to give this up without a fight. And despite being 5,000 down, they're going to go in.
Zombie Man goes in deep, ends up losing his mount. Bio's kind of over on the side, looking to get a flank. Tanner, aware that he's looking for the flank, is end up positioning in a way to prevent Bio from going over there. Bio's going to go over towards mid lane, get that Herald down. It looks like they're going to concede Dragon and go for an exchange of Tower for Dragon. Should be a Tower for free. Tower ends up going down. Zombie Man a little slow here as Burst Phantom's going to fly in. The Lantern going to be able to save him. Now Impulse in a little bit of trouble. Going to get Action alted. Yucca is trying to run him down. Bad with the P, going to get a nice little hook onto Phantom to try and dissuade the engage. Impulse now still in trouble. The red buff on Burst Phantom in the flash. Looks like Impulse is going to go down. And so now with without any major objectives on the map, I'm not sure what that Burst Phantom's flash kill there really means, other than, you know, putting Impulse further behind. I'm not sure if that was per se worth, but again, you know, asserting dominance, Dryads asserting dominance, making sure that Hard Dr. Pepper understands that this is their game, and you're gonna have to do something different other than try and contest us at objectives if you're gonna be able to work your way back into this game. If you're on the side of Hard Dr. Pepper, what is your goals? Do you have any plan that you think that can enable them to be able to get back into this one?
I think they've got to keep looking for those picks. It's been really difficult for this CUD to get any sort of lane control. Been behind so much farm throughout this game, and this Ryze is also very far behind. They need to try and play around this Lucian as much as possible. That's really where all of their gold is. This Rengar, all things considered, not doing it that badly, will do okay later on, but the more tanky stats the Lee Sin and the Set get, the harder it will be for him to burst out those members. Got to keep our eye on those two Enchantresses, though, because if Rengar can get to the point they can one-shot this Seraphine, one-shot this Sona, that's where a lot of that power is going to come through, just being able to delete someone out of a team fight. And even if you go 1-for-1, you're taking out a very important member who will keep them alive for a long time. Bio, though...
Goes in trouble here, a little bit overextended. He's going to get... Oh, a nice little flash. He used his ultimate for the speed up, able to flash over the wall, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to end up getting picked up by the Action ult, and now Impulse, who ulted in to try and save him. Burst Phantom's going to say, nope, you're not getting out either. We're going to pick you up. And without a wave, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to take this tier 2. They're just picking up kills for the sake of kills, which personally I'm not a huge fan of. I like to be fighting over things that I'm going to be able to get something off of, because kills in a vacuum for me as a player, not that valuable. But at a minimum, Dryads are at least picking up control over the spot side of the map, being able to pick up camps, maybe some vision. They are going to, like you said, pick up this tier 1 as well.
And at this point, Yucca doesn't really care about what Kled is doing. There's enough health in the pool for the Set that they're just going to be able to pick up that top tower as well. And overall, this is really good macro play from the side of Dryads as well. Oh my goodness, Zombie Man. Able
to pop over the wall with the Blasting Pan. Now Zombie Man is going to be in some severe trouble. Ends up bursting Flash, but it's to no avail. Ends up going down. Burst Phantom going to pick up the tier 2 and gets flayed out of his Tarzan in. Nice little hook here onto Tanner, who's going to eat a little bit of the culling to the face, but really not going to be able to do a lot of damage to the massive AoE shielding that is Sona Seraphine. And this duo lane is now, despite being down about 50 CS, I think that their utility is just outweighing their any sort of deficit that they've created from the amount of pressure that they also absorbed in that bot lane.
It's just really difficult to see a way for the side of Hard Dr. Pepper to get themselves back into this one. Ryze is so irrelevant this game that I don't even think they need to build any MR, but even so, Akshan has that Wit's End complete, so if this Ryze gets to a point where he starts to output that damage, it's going to be countered by this Wit's End. Overall, though, it's looking really grim because the Sona has been able to scale up really quietly, has that Moonstone complete, working towards the Chemtech Putrefier, and one of the only ways that they can stay in this is with the healing off of the Kled, with the damage out of that Lucian, and a lot of that's going to get taken away with some of these items that are getting complete. We're going to get a Sterex complete on the Lee Sin as well, and by the looks of it, it's going to be Blade of the Ruined King for this Akshan, so going to be doing a lot of damage, healing a lot himself, and going to be able to chunk out some of those beefier front lines like the Kled and the Thresh.
Yeah, I see how you've really hyped up this ball, and I just see how difficult it is to deal with, besides just putting the ultimates aside, which I think are in and of themselves viable without the rest of the kit, but the amount of shielding that they're able to provide whenever somebody gets in trouble. Kleddle coming in, they're trying to get a little bit of engage, but Zombie Man not able to connect it. Neither is bad with the P able to land the hook. A huge Seraphine ult going to make Bio go down very, very quickly. The box coming down to try and disengage the fight, but I don't think they're going to be able to get out of this one. Artho able to get up in the front line, and now First Phantom trying to take him down with the action ult. Suplex coming in, gonna end up
still alive,
trying to take over Kled there, and now Impulse is gonna end up getting taken down as well. Ooh. Yes, and First Phantom able to take quite a bit, do a lot of on the map. Oh, the flash Q and empowered auto attack for Artho. And now it looks like Dryads are gonna go straight for Baron and lock this in so that they can start taking these inhibitors after a reset.
And Akshan has enough damage to be able to do this. Yucca's just going to tank this up. You can see Lee Sin taking the Dragon on the bottom side to give themselves Infernal Soul Point. And Dryads have come out here and really played to their win conditions. They've played around this Akshan incredibly well. We said he was going to be the biggest source of their damage and is definitely living up to that expectation. The double Enchantress bot lane just going to keep him alive for so long, make him so difficult to take down, and you can see some of the build changes forced to come out from the side of Hard Dr. Pepper. The Executioner's coming out from Lucian, but also that Serrated Dirk in the inventory of Rengar will be building most likely towards a Serpent's Fang to cut through some of those shielding, but it might just be a little bit too late for that because there's a 10,000 gold lead for the side of Dryads here.
Pretty significant lead between the Baron and now Ocean, or is it Infernal Soul Point? I apologize. Infernal Soul Point being covered by Dryads, and now you have a lot of control over the map between the invisibility and pick potential of Akshan as well as Tanner's Lee Sin, and it's, I mean, Zombie Man and they look like Dr. Pepper was trying to show some signs of life using Zombie Man's ult to try and get an engage there, try to catch Dryads off guard, but walking and chasing and continuing to chase into that the river where they had no vision, probably not the best idea. And I'm going to get poked down a little bit with the Seraphine root. Tier 2 going to go down for Yucca, whose CS lead, as you mentioned, is now ballooned up to about 80. And also in the mid lane, about a 70 CS difference. So pretty massive CS differences in every lane in Nye with himself. For Hard Dr. Pepper, able to have a pretty substantial ADCS lead on Pixel Wolf, who maybe not as vital because Pixel Wolf's able to, as you said, build really efficiently and not have as many expensive items as Lucian. Tier 2 going to get picked up. They're basically getting bullied off of their potential to defend anything. Tanner going to dodge the Thresh Hook from bad with a P, and Tier 2 is going to go down as well as the wave crashes. Sonic Wave going to go in.
Ooh.
Bluffed, causing the box to come out. Pixel Wolf also blowing the Seraphine Charm. Sonic Wave landing on the Zombie Man just for the poke. The wave on top side really isn't there. So I'm curious to see how they want to play this now, because Dryads, they are going to leave. Maybe either get a reset or go grab this Tier 2 on the top side. Yep, all 5 of them headed over to the Tier 2. Still have 2.5 minutes on Dragon. Really no rush to be on the bot side of the map. So going to continue to pressure, pick up massive gold, and maybe take Tier 2, possibly Tier 3 here as the super waves start to generate in both mid and bot. Is there any way you can defend this at this point as Hard Dr. Pepper?
I need to try and be as positive as possible, but no. It's just really difficult to try and face this 5-man stack here. You have so much healing, as we said, coming out from these 2 Enchantresses, and Yucca's taking no damage. You can see it right here.
Right, yeah. He gets hooked and CC'd for quite a bit of time, and between the Everfrost, the hook, and the Rune Prism. But no, he doesn't take very much damage. And even when he did, he ends up having shield for twice his health. Gets hooked again here, doesn't really care. He just needs to be a big beefy body to make sure Artho or Pixel aren't the ones eating those hooks, so he doesn't give a flip. Burst Phantom going to take over this blue. You know, Burst Phantom really, in my opinion, the unsung hero, well, the sung hero, I guess, of this game. You know,
very
9-2. Going down, I think a big part of it was both he and Yucca being able to go down into the bot lane, despite Pixel and Artho being really attacked pretty substantially by Bio running down their Zombie and Impulse, both either Impulse ulting down there at one point, Zombie teleporting down there. Everyone was trying to apply pressure to this juicy double Enchantress lane, and cognizant of that, Burst Phantom's able to be down there, counteracting that, and ends up making them pay substantially. I really liked that he was just very active on the map throughout this game.
Yeah, just able to move around the map with so much ease. You know, this Akshan really wants to take advantage of that roaming potential, but also took advantage of the strength in lane that just Burst Phantom as a player has shown. We saw the Vi last game, not that impressive, but coming out with this Akshan this time around has definitely exceeded expectations. And you know, as we get further on into this game, it's just going to get more difficult, because if Burst Phantom has that damage, if one of his teammates goes down, he's most likely going to be able to get them back up with one of those kills to get the revive. And with Infernal Soul almost guaranteed for the side of Dryads here in 15 seconds, we'll see what transpires through that.
I don't see that there's very much that can be done right. You can't really contest this with double inhibitors down. If anyone dies, it's really game. It's pretty easy for the side of Dryads to punish. So you have to stall out the game if you're the side of Hard Dr. Pepper. Make sure you don't get too tipsy with going too aggressive. Looks like there's going to be a short pause here. I'm not sure if we have any reason for the pause. Do you have any messages, Adam, for what's going on there?
No clue. What it means, though, if we get that pause actually showing through here, means that they might still be in a pause. So hopefully we'll get that all sorted out. To be fair, it's about a 12,000 gold lead for the side of Dryads, so they're feeling really good about themselves. This should be game, considering they have this Infernal Soul. Baron's going to be spawning in about 57 seconds as well, but we'll have to just see what happens after this. No news yet about what's going on with this pause, but we should find out soon.
I think the only things you can really play for at this point, the only way you get back in the game is getting either Baron steal, being able to somehow prevent in some way, either through stealing the Baron or from getting some sort of teasing fight here as we get back into the game. Any way that you can slow down or prevent the Baron from being taken, because once the Baron gets taken with the two inhibitors, it's very difficult to defend. Yucca and Artho going to be moving up in towards mid. I am frozen, so I can't really see
it's
out of
frozen now too. It's
okay.
It's what happens. You get a pause and you get another pause after, because it tries to catch up and then rewind and catch back up. It's another bug that
Spectators, man, come on, League of Legends, Riot Games. All right, as we get unfrozen here, it looks like Burst Phantom's going to be invisible in the base here, kind of trying to stay next to walls to maintain his invisibility. Looks like they're going to just apply as much pressure as possible with this Infernal Soul leading up into this Baron, and maybe try to end the game if they are able to find a pick here before this Baron spawns.
Yeah, they're going to be looking to just try and end the game off of this. They've got so much damage. Look at this.
Guy with a peak, half health almost immediately just off the Infernal Soul as the Seraphine ult comes down, and he's just obliterated. There's something else there. Zombie Man going in, trying to find something, also gets burst down. The attempted insect by Tanner doesn't work. Impulse able to flash and avoid it, and that's going to be the nexus as Dryads even out the series 1-1, and now we're going to be heading into game 3 here with a huge win for Dryads, making it 1-1 in the series versus Hard Dr. Pepper. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back for the final game of this heated series here at Black Twitch League. Stay tuned.